the former Baron of Redmore. I grew up in the Northern Realms, and at an early age, I was inspired by my grandmother's bedtime stories of a great city of light and knowledge. When the time came to accept my inheritance, I relinquished my title and estate to my honorable cousin Fianna Redmore, then set out on a pilgrimage to that great city, Solana. There I was embraced by the Hand of Sol, and spent years in grueling training and dangerous duty. Amidst the Hand's ranks, I met a cleric named Irina, whose grace enchanted me from our very first meeting. After a blissful romance, we married, and soon after, Irina gave birth to our baby boy, Eos. But only a few short years later, disaster struck. While I was patrolling the Golden Fields, shadowy forces assaulted Solana. Irina perished in the attack while bravely defending the Solarium. I was struck by grief, and in my sorrow, Bellona Wartune visited me in a vision. She showed me a bleak premonition of the lands of light grown dark and desolate under the yoke of shadow. My faith thus renewed, I vowed to fight for a future where my son could grow into a man under the blessed light of Sol, and at Minerva's behest, I accepted a commission as an inquisitor. After ensuring the safety of Eos, I ventured across Solana and the Northern Realms with my loyal knights. Together we rooted out the occultists of the Demonastery, putting their enclaves to the sword and the torch. The servants of Shadow now tremble in fear at the mere mention of the Breaker of Dawn, for I am the physician who cuts the infection from the flesh of Solana and cauterizes its weeping wounds. I will not rest until my beloved Solana is restored to its righteous glory.
Today we will be looking at Sir Bolton Breaker of Dawn. If you don't know the fundamentals and general game mechanics, I strongly suggest watching the Learn to Play guides by LSS and visit the Heroes of Fab section for additional information. Link will be in the description. Bolton was first introduced in the Flesh and Blood set Monarch back in May 2021. Then we were reacquainted in July 2023 in the 10th set Dusk Till Dawn. Let's have a look at his hero ability. If you've charged this turn, attacks you control have +1 attack power while defended by an attack action card. It also says attack reaction. Banish a card from Bolton's Soul. Target attack with greater attack power than its base attack power gains go again. Bolton fights not only for the sake of his son Eos, but for all of those he has sworn to protect, determined to free the Land of Shadows and defend his shining city. Charge is a keyword that exists on light warrior attacks. This showcases Bolton's eagerness to engage in battle and charge his soul in the process. As an additional cost to playing a card with charge, you may put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. Charging is optional. You may play the card without charging. When you choose to charge, the charged card is put face up under your hero. Bolton has a few weapons to choose from, but today we will cover two. Firstly, Bolton's signature weapon is Raiden Duskbane. Once per turn action, at no cost, attack if you've charged this turn. Raiden Duskbane gains +3 attack power. As you can see, on its own, it doesn't attack for anything. But if you've charged this turn, it gains +3 attack power at no cost. The second weapon is the Centauri Saber. Once per turn action, for 1 resource, attack. If Centauri Saber is defended by an attack action card, it gains +1 attack power until the end of turn. Since this one is a one-handed sword, you can equip 2. Let's have a look at some budget equipment that can be used with this hero. Firstly, we have Gallantry Gold. It says, action. For 1 resource, destroy Gallantry Gold. Your weapon attacks gains +1 attack power this turn. Go again. Additionally, this one can block once, and being battle-worn, this will not be destroyed after blocking with it, meaning you can still use the action ability if not used yet. This is really a great budget option. Halo of Illumination is a light head equipment that says, instant. For 1 resource, destroy Halo of Illumination. Put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. If it's a light card, draw a card. This can be great utility in certain situations. Additionally, it has Spell Void 2. If your hero would be dealt arcane damage, you may destroy this equipment and prevent 2 arcane damage that source would deal. This can be useful when your opponent is a wizard, runeblade, or illusionist. Lastly, we have refraction bolters. When your weapon attack hits, you may destroy refraction bolters. If you do, the attack gains go again. This one also have Battle Worn 1. As you journey with Boltyn, you will have access to the warrior, light, and generic card pool. As a true warrior, Boltyn can take many different pathways paired with his signature charge mechanic. Depending on the cards, equipment, and weapons he wishes to equip for battle, Boltyn can aggressively unleash devastating attacks that are difficult to defend, prepare back-breaking finishing moves, or pivot to a more defensive stance. Boltyn is extremely versatile and will adapt his battle plan to any situation. Let's have a look at some examples of attack action cards that uses the charge mechanic. Bolt of Courage. As an additional cost to play Bolt of Courage, you may charge your hero's soul. If you've charged this turn, Bolt of Courage gains if this hits, draw a card. On its own, it's a pretty mediocre attack, but charging this one not only turns on Boltyn's hero ability, but it gains a very powerful on-hit effect. Engulfing Light is very similar to Bolt of Courage, but has a different on-hit effect. If you've charged this turn, Engulfing Light gains if this hit, put it into your hero's soul. Take Flight is slightly different. At 1 cost it says, if you've charged this turn, Take Flight gains go again. This is fantastic, as it doesn't need Boltyn's attack reaction to give it go again. Quick note that the attacks mentioned only needs you to charge once for this effect to persist for the rest of the turn, meaning if you play one of these after the other, the second one will benefit from the effect without charging a card in Boltyn's soul. Valiant Thrust functions differently than the others, as it doesn't let you charge your hero's soul, but gains a substantial attack buff by having charged this turn. If you've charged this turn, Valiant Thrust gains +3 attack power. Other attacks will contain the Soul Flare keyword. A Soul Flare ability triggers when the card with the Soul Flare keyword is charged to your hero's soul. Note, it does not trigger if it's put into your hero's soul any other way. In the rare slot, we have Banneret of Vigor, Salvation, and Resilience. Banneret of Vigor says Soul Flare. When this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1 resource. Banneret of Salvation functions exactly the same, but will gain you a life. Banneret of Resilience does function the same, but since the benefit is gaining +1 armor on an action card you will use to block, you will be required to charge this card on your opponent's turn. In the Majestic slot, we have Banneret of Courage, Gallantry, and Protection that will grant you specific tokens. For example, Banneret of Courage says Soul Flare. When this is charged to your hero's soul, create a Courage token aura. Courage token says, when you play an attack action card or activate a weapon attack, destroy this and the attack gains +1 attack power. This synergizes well with your hero's attack reaction. Banneret of Gallantry will grant you a Quicken token, which says, when you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon, destroy Quicken, then the attack gains go again. And finally, Banneret of Protection will grant you a Spellbend Aegis token, which gives you Spell Void 1. Some cards have benefits if a yellow pitch card was charged. Beaming Bravado. As an additional cost to play this, you may charge your hero's soul. If a yellow card is charged this way, this gets +1 attack power. Beckoning Light has the same charge cost, but if a yellow card was charged this way, whenever an attack action card hits this combat chain, you may put an attack action card from your graveyard on top of your deck. If the combat chain closes at any point after playing this card, the effect will be lost. There are other great attack actions that you can play with Boltyn, so make sure to check them out. Let's now have a look at some non-attack actions that Boltyn can use. Dusk Path Pilgrimage. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +3 attack power in red, 2 in yellow, and 1 in blue pitch. And if this hits, you may attack an additional time with this weapon this turn. Go again. If you happen to charge this turn, this non-attack action paired with Raiden Duskbane is fantastic. Lastly, we have Prayer of Bellona. On its own, your next attack gains +2 attack power. This is great as it doesn't specify only attack actions and may be used to pump a weapon attack as well. It also says, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's yellow, put it into your hand, then charge your hero's soul. Go again. This one will grant you an extra perk for playing many yellow cards. Boltyn has access to great attack and defense reactions as well. Courageous Steel Hand is a simple attack reaction that can give your attack +3 attack power in red, 2 in yellow, and 1 in blue pitch. This is another great way to turn on your hero's attack reaction ability on. Beacon of Victory. As an additional cost to play Beacon of Victory, banish X cards from your hero's soul. X can't be 0. Target attack gains +X attack power. If you've charged this turn, search your deck for an action card with cost X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This of course will require you to have cards in your soul. Make sure to plan wisely when using this attack reaction, especially if you wish to unleash multiple attacks in one turn. You will need to have enough cards in your soul to give your attacks go again with Boltyn's hero ability. We will have a look at this closer in our gameplay. Lastly, in the reaction category, we have Soul Shield. This defense reaction not only blocks for 6, but once the combat chain closes, this one will go into your hero's soul. All heroes have specific specialization cards that can only be played in their respective hero deck. At time of recording, for Boltyn, we have V of the Vanguard and Lumina Ascension. V of the Vanguard. As an additional cost to play V of the Vanguard, you may charge your hero's soul any number of times. Attacks on this combat chain gains +1 attack power for each light card charged this way. Simple application with a very powerful effect. Make sure that the cards charged are light cards or the effect will not be active. Next, we have Lumina Ascension. Until end of turn, weapons you control gains +1 attack power, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero's soul and gain 1 life. Otherwise, put it at the bottom of your deck. If you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control. Go again. This card, when played at the right time, especially if you can play multiple copies on the same turn, can spell the end for your opponent. To better explain how this devastating combo works, stick around for the gameplay. The next one is not a Boltyn specialization card, but function with one of his specializations, which is Lumina Ascension. Spirit of Irina is a legendary non-attack action item that says, if Spirit of Irina would be put into your soul, instead put it into the arena. You may play Lumina Ascension as though it were an instant. This one is pulling double duty as it acts as a charge card and is then immediately placed in the arena as an item that will stay on the board. Note that being a legendary, you may only have one Spirit of Irina in your deck. If you are considering playing Boltyn, you will have access to higher quality equipment. There are quite a few options here, so I will only cover a few. Note that some of the following will be utilized in different Boltyn builds depending on what plan you are on. Courage of Bladehold. Action: destroy Courage of Bladehold. Your sword attacks cost 1 resource less this turn. Go again. Making your Centauri Sabers attacks free will be the bread and butter on a Lumina Ascension combo. It also has an unconditional block value of 2, meaning you can block 1 attack for 2, and on a later turn or another chain, block again for 1, for a total of 3 block damage. But do note, being a temper equipment, Courage of Bladehold will be destroyed once all block values has been used. As a different chess piece option, we have Soulbound Resolve. When this defends, you may charge your hero's soul. The first time you would be dealt damage each turn. If you've charged this turn, prevent 1 of that damage. Remember Banneret of Resilience that we talked about before? This equipment will enable you to charge on your opponent's turn. Same as Courage of Bladehold, Soulbound Resolve has Temper 2. Lastly, we have Ironsong Versus. Once per turn action, for 1 resource, your next sword attack this turn gets, when this hits a hero, create a courage token. Go again. Another great Rain Duskbane target. Just a quick disclaimer, many heroes benefit from using other generic legendary equipment, and Boltyn is no exception. but I will not be including these today to showcase more class-specific options. Alright, let's have a look at a few possible hands only utilizing the equipment and cards introduced today. For our first example, we'll showcase a simple aggressive turn. Our cards are Take Flight Red, Beaming Bravado Blue, Valiant Thrust Red, and Dustpath Pilgrimage Yellow. Let's start by playing our Take Flight and pitching the blue Beaming Bravado. We will have 2 floating resources. Take Flight has a charge effect. If we decide to charge this attack, Take Flight will gain Go Again. Great, let's do that. We will charge and place Dustpath Pilgrimage in Boltyn's Soul. Since we now have charge, Boltyn's ability is active. Attacks you control have +1 attack power while defended by an attack action card. Take Flight will come in for 4 or 5 attack power if the defending hero wishes to block this attack with an attack action. Let's say our opponent says no blocks and opts to take the 4 damage. Next, let's use one of our floating resources to play Valiant Thrust. Since we charge this turn, it gains +3 attack power. Our opponent decides to block with 2 attack action cards that blocks for 3. Since these are attack actions, Valiant Thrust's attack power will be 8. Since blocks were declared, let's use Boltyn's attack reaction and banish a card from Soul. Since Valiant Thrust has greater attack power than its base attack, it will now gain Go Again. Let's break the combat chain and play the once per turn action from our Iron Song versus equipment, using the remaining resource. Our next sword attack gains when this hits a hero, create a courage token. Go Again. Then let's finish off with our sword Radiant Dustbane, coming in for 3 or 4 attack power if they wish to defend with an attack action. This makes it very awkward to block if they only have attack actions in hand. Let's say they block this attack with an attack action and an equipment to fully block this attack. No courage token will be created. We end our turn. Simple, but we still stripped our opponent of a few cards and equipment. For our second example, let's use one of Boltyn's specialization cards, V of the Vanguard. And let's say it was in our arsenal from a previous turn. We also have 1 card in Boltyn's Soul. Our cards are Bolt of Courage Red, Engulfing Light Red, Banneret of Salvation, and Valiant Thrust Blue. Let's start by using our once per turn Iron Song versus action by pitching the blue Valiant Thrust. Our next sword attack will gain when this hits a hero, create a courage token. Go Again. Next, let's play V of the Vanguard from Arsenal, using one of our floating resources. V of the Vanguard has a charge effect. We may charge our hero's soul any number of times. Attacks on this combat chain gains +1 attack power for each light card charged this way. We will charge and place Banneret of Salvation in Boltyn's Soul. Since this one is a light, the effect from V of the Vanguard will take effect, and all attacks on this combat chain gains +1 attack power. Banneret of Salvation also have benefits from being charged. It says, Soul Flare. When this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1 life. Great! V of the Vanguard will come in for 4 or 5 attack power if the defending hero wishes to block this attack with an attack action. Let's say our opponent fully blocks this attack. As an attack reaction, let's use Boltyn's attack reaction and banish a card from his soul. Since V of the Vanguard has greater attack power than its base attack, it will now gain Go Again. Next, let's play Engulfing Light at no cost. We don't need to charge here since we already charged this turn. If this one hits, it will be put in our hero's soul. Engulfing Light will come in for 4 or 5 since V of the Vanguard gave all of our attacks +1 attack power this chain. Our opponent decides to not block this attack. Since blocks were declared, let's use Boltyn's attack reaction again and banish a card from his soul to give Engulfing Light Go Again. A few things will happen here. On hit, Engulfing Light will go in our hero's soul. Second, Banneret of Salvation was charged this turn, and since the attack did hit, we gain a life. Sweet! Let's follow this up by playing Bolt of Courage at no cost. No need to charge since we already charged this turn. If this one hit, we draw a card. Bolt of Courage will come in for 4 or 5 with V of the Vanguard still active. Our opponent here fully blocks this attack. Unfortunately, we don't draw a card, but as an attack reaction, let's banish a card from our hero's soul to give Bolt of Courage go again. Lastly, let's attack with our sword Raiden Dustbane, coming in for 4 or 5 attack power. Since V of the Vanguard does not specify attack action, our weapon also gains +1 attack power. Our opponent opts not to block this attack. Since this hits, we will create a courage token from our Iron Song Versus trigger. We will end our turn. Pretty explosive turn here. For our third example, let's pretend this is a different game and we are playing with Gallantry Gold and Centauri Sabers. This is a little later in the game and we have 3 cards in our soul. Let's do a bit of damage and set up for our next turn. Our cards are Beaming Bravado Yellow, Courageous Steel Hand Red, Lumina Ascension, and Engulfing Light Red. Let's start by playing Engulfing Light at no cost. Engulfing Light has a charge effect. If we charge this turn, Engulfing Light gains. If this hits, put it into your hero's soul. We will charge and place Beaming Bravado in Bolten Soul. Engulfing Light will come in for 3 or 4 attack power if the defending hero wishes to block this attack with an attack action. Our opponent fully blocks this attack using a non-attack action that blocks for 3. Since blocks are declared, let's use our attack reaction, Courageous Steel Hand. This will add +3 attack power to Engulfing Light. Our opponent doesn't have a defense reaction, meaning Engulfing Light will hit. Before damage is dealt, we could use Bolten's attack reaction since we have cards in soul. Engulfing Light has greater attack power than its base, but let's set up our Lumina Ascension for next turn. We'll let Engulfing Light hit and place it in Bolten Soul. We end our turn placing Lumina Ascension in Arsenal, taking 1 card from our opponent, leaking 3 damage with 2 cards in soul is not a bad turn when setting up for Lumina Ascension. For our last example, let's ramp up the difficulty and play the Bolten Dream combo. Let's continue from our last turn with Lumina Ascension in Arsenal. We have a total of 5 cards in soul. Our cards are Bolt of Courage Red, Lumina Ascension, Banneret of Vigor, and Beacon of Victory. Let's start by playing Bolt of Courage at no cost. Bolt of Courage has a charge effect. If we charge this turn, Bolt of Courage gains. If this hits, draw a card. We will charge and place Banneret of Vigor in Bolten Soul. Banneret of Vigor also has Soul Flare. It says, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1 resource. Perfect. Bolt of Courage will come in for 3 or 4 attack power if the defending hero wishes to block with an attack action. The opponent decides to block this attack with 1 attack action that blocks for 3 and an equipment that blocks for 1. After blocks were declared as an attack reaction, let's play out our Beacon of Victory. As an additional cost to play Beacon of Victory, we must banish X cards from our hero's soul. Target attack gains +X attack power. Let's banish 1 card from Bolten Soul. This means Bolt of Courage threatens an extra damage over the top. But first, let's look back at our Beacon of Victory. If you've charged this turn, search your deck for an action card with cost X or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. X here is 1. Since we are playing Bolten as an adult hero, we can have up to 3 copies of any unique card unless legendary. Let's get our 3rd Lumina Ascension. Now coming back to our Bolt of Courage, our opponent doesn't have any defense reaction, meaning that the attack will hit. Before damage is dealt, let's banish another card from our soul to give Bolt of Courage go again. Bolt of Courage hits, then draws a card. Let's say we draw Red Beaming Bravado. Let's not forget, we also get a resource from Banneret of Vigor that we charged earlier due to the last attack hitting the opponent. We have all the pieces to get this combo. Fantastic. With the resource we just got, let's break the combat chain and destroy Gallantry Gold. This will give our weapon attacks +1 attack power this turn. Next, let's destroy Courage of Bladehold. All of our weapon attacks will cost 1 resource less this turn. See where I'm going? Let's now play out our 3 Lumina Ascensions, one after the other, since this non-attack action has go again. Let's have a look at this again. Until end of turn, weapons you control gains +1 attack power, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero's soul and gain 1 life. Otherwise, put it in the bottom of your deck. If you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control. Go again. What this means, each of your weapons can swing 4 times and will gain +4 attack power. 3 from the Lumina Ascension and 1 from the Gallantry Gold. Whenever we hit with these swords, we get to put the top 3 cards of our deck into our soul and gain 3 life if they are light cards. We can use these extra souls gained to give our continuous sword attacks go again. The total attacks adds up to 48 damage. Anytime the opponent blocks with an attack action, it will not only give our attacks +2 attack power, 1 from our hero effect and 1 from the saber, it will also increase the attack power of our future swings with that weapon due to the saber's buff lasting until end of turn. If your opponent is unable to prevent this combo, they are very unlikely to survive this turn. Important to note, you want a few spare cards in soul before you try the combo, as we need to hit to gain more souls on our combo turns. This means if we didn't have extra soul, our opponent could block us out and we would run out of go again, stopping our turn. This hand is where Boltyn truly shines. Getting this devastating combo off is one of his most popular game plans. Years of training with the Hand of Soul has taught Boltyn the greatest weapon is not what you carry in your hand, but what you carry within yourself. This was Jackie for the Fab Workshop. See you next time, and thanks for watching.